Let's get chilly. Hello and welcome back to Let's Chill, the official, unofficial Minnesota Wind Chill, Minnesota Strike podcast. I'm Jeff,
I'm Jay.
And I'm Kane.
and tonight we are previewing the Minnesota Wind Chill's 2025 season. The UFA season, as of recording today, has officially kicked off. The Wind Chill season will start next week on May 10th, and it's gonna be a fun one. The reigning champions are looking to repeat, but of course, it all starts on day one. And we're just going to go kind of our annual podcast, going game by game, talking about them, what matchups we're excited to see, what teams we're excited to see, and of course, who we think is going to win each game. So I'm going to share my screen. Of course, this is not only going to be a visual podcast. We will be talking. So if you're on Spotify, trying to get your Spotify rap numbers up for us, first of all, appreciate you. Second of all, don't worry, you'll be able to follow along as we talk about it. For those of you on YouTube, again, if you're working right now, you can keep working, pretend that your boss, make it look like you're to your boss. Wow, that's your heart at work, but we know we're all listening to the wind chill talk. So, with that being said, the wind chill are opening up their season on the road. I think they've started on the road the last couple of seasons. Actually, it's the same sheet we can see. They have started on the road. Yeah, at least 2 years in a row now. First is the Alley Cats this year. Jay, why don't you kick us off? Who do you think is going to win when the Wind Chill visit the Alley Cats on May 10th?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty easy wind chill win. Although I've said that about games in the past. But I think the Alley Cats this year are not going to be returning a lot of similar faces, a lot of stars. So I think the wind chill will pick up this game pretty handily.
One for sure notable loss that we'll just point out in case people haven't followed the division or the team. Cam Brock is no longer playing for the Alley Cats. He's probably the biggest, most obvious loss that they've experienced. He's playing for the Hustle now. So yeah, I'll real quick while I'm talking, I guess I will also give the first game to the Wind Chill. Yeah, it's going to be a tough team this year for the Alley Cats. Hopefully they can give some competitive games, but I don't think this first one will be much of a fight.
Yeah, I mean, despite being an away game, I do think the Wind Chill are still going to take away with this one. Indoor stadium, good environment to really test the polls early on in the season, see what the handlers can do. So kind of a good warm-up game, honestly.
Very true. Dane, do you want to keep us going with the home opener? They're hosting the Union to
Uh,
start their home season.
yeah, this one I'm excited for this one. It's marked in my calendar. Uh, I was really looking forward to the first matchup against the Union this year, and I'm very grateful that it's going to be at home. And I do think it's going to be a win. I think that I'm going to say that the Wind Chill are going to take this one. Although, guys, I'm going to be honest, this could be another comeback here for the Union.
The Union are looking very, very strong. All of a sudden, they rebuilt. They've got a couple of familiar names from past years, from other Central teams. I believe even from New York, they imported a few players. So, yeah, I agree. Jay, what do you think?
I think the Union are going to lose this game. I think wind chill will win at home. And I'm going to go even farther to say at least one of the returning players will have at least 3 throwaways.
Do you want to name that player, or are we just
Yeah,
gonna leave it like?
I think we all know, but it's Giannis. I'm hoping that Giannis has at least 3 throwaways. He hasn't played
Yeah,
in Seafoam in a few years. I don't think he'll be used to those wins, coming back from LA.
nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling that optimism spread through you guys, so I'll take the Wind Chill here as well. Um, but I definitely think it's going to be a tough. This one will be a tough game, maybe as opposed to the Alley Cats. I'll keep us going with the Thunderbirds. They're traveling to Pittsburgh. Thunderbirds kind of made some waves last year, maybe showed some promise, but losing again some of their big playmakers, Max Shepard, and that's going to be another easy dub for Minnesota. Give me the Wind Chill.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't really see a world where the Thunderbirds are a contender in the Central Division this year and going up against last year's champions. Just, I mean, it's not really a coin flip in my eyes.
I have to agree. Although last year we did say some things about Minnesota beating the Thunderbirds by some pretty hefty margins before Minnesota lost.
Yep.
So I think this game will be closer than anyone will expect. I do think that the Thunderbirds will take it though.
Really
Sorry,
quick.
that
Yeah, no,
Minnesota will take it.
yeah. Really quick. I'm not trying to get into this too much. Do we think losing Max Shepard is a positive, a net positive or a net negative? Is he one of those players who we think like sometimes we say Jeff Babbitt maybe does more harm than good on the team, that teams are cleaner without certain players on the roster? Quick yes or no, is Max Shepard leaving good for the Thunderbirds or bad?
Bad for the Thunderbirds, good for New York. Maybe a
Yeah,
hot take.
that's
I
not. I
mean,
don't think that's a hot take. I think that's
That's the
yeah,
take.
that's the
at this
take, right?
point, having already seen two games of New
Yeah.
York playing,
Yeah.
it's bad for the Thunderbirds.
Yeah, I agree. I just wanted to put that out there. Okay, here's one where I think we all have this date circled on our calendars. We all have it circled on our calendars for a different reason. May 30th. We are all going to be busy at Jay's wedding. Congratulations, Jay. Also, shout out to Kelsey. Maybe Jay, you should shout out Kelsey, but
Yeah, also shout out my fiance who will become my wife on that day. Woot woot.
this is a marquee matchup for the Winchell. They are playing the Atlanta Hustle back at TCO Stadium, the Vikings facility. And of course, we know Cam Brock will be returning to the Central Division for that, as we had previewed. And this is James Pollard's, or Justin Burnett's um, old team that he's kind of facing that revenge match. So that's gonna be a fun game all around, and I think we'll all be sneaking looks at our phones while we're giving our best man speeches and partying the night away. But um, I'm gonna kick us off with this prediction. Hey, I really don't know. I think I'm gonna say the wind chill. I think that's kind of right now for me the path of least resistance. This is a matchup we've never seen before. I think the Hustle are going to be a very good team and in an environment where the wind chill aren't all that familiar. I mean, even though it's a home game, it's still TCO, and they've had a couple games under their belts. It's not their home stadium. But I think that they're going to pull it off. I think the wind chill will take the win. It might be an overtime. It might be a buzzer beater, but it'll be a wind chill dub.
You
Yeah.
know, watching the Salt Lake Shred Atlanta Hustle matchup just the other day, um, I have to give it to the Hustle for the Minnesota team playing like really strong defense is how Minnesota wins a lot of their games. And the Hustle's offense looked unbreakable, especially in that second half. And we know that, through previous years, the Wind Chill are really good at, ramping up their defense throughout the game. So if the Hustle's offense is able to ramp up with them, I don't think Minnesota will be able to generate enough breaks to be able to beat the Hustle.
That's true. And so far, I mean, within the first weekend here, it does seem like the story of the season is the offense. Honestly, I don't know if you guys have been watching the
Yep.
games at all, but I mean, the games have been all offense, really. For better or for worse. And side note, not going to be sneaking the phone at all. It will be on the table while we're eating. I'm not. What do you mean
We'll
sneaking
get
the
we'll get
phone?
a projector up. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm gonna bring my
I,
laptop. I got a second monitor here. Like we're set.
I
Um,
just want to say the game starts at 7. The meal will be done by then.
oh yeah,
Perfect.
we're fine. We're fine. Well, no, that being said, I do think that Minnesota's gonna really have to prove itself on the offensive side of the disc this year, all things
Mhm.
said. And as it is right now, the Hustle, I think, are better on that side of the disc. So I will take the Hustle.
Okay.
But if you check in with me, 2 days before the game, I'm taking Minnesota probably. But to be fair to how things are, I'm taking the Hustle.
I will also point out. I mean, I think our defense only got stronger this year with Justin Burnett and James Pollard and possibly Sam Berglund. I mean, I'm assuming he's healthy and ready to go. Assuming that we do come with a full healthy roster. And again, that's gonna be the fourth game. We are a month away from that date. A lot can happen between now and then. from both sides. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting and a fun matchup. Okay, Jay, do you want to tell us about hosting the Thunderbirds?
All right, last year we said Minnesota would win by 10 against the Thunderbirds at home. This year I'm making the same prediction, but this year there's one key difference. Minnesota has James Pollard. James Pollard has never lost to the Thunderbirds.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
That's right.
Okay, yeah, well then you kind of add up with the Thunderbirds by default then, right? Or not the Thunderbirds, the Minnesota Wind Show.
Wow, that's the second time
The
we've
th
confused those two.
the Thunderbirds losing is what I was in my head. It was like
Yeah.
that's
I
like a
did the
big
same thing.
fat
Yeah, yeah.
L. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm
that's
usually not an undefeated through, 5 games kind of guy. I mean, I'm a little more realistic, but so far, I think the hustle is my only question mark right now. But yeah, they're easily gonna beat the Thunderbirds at home. I mean, handily. When they traveled to Madison, I was just telling Noelle for our listeners, that's my wife. Um, I feel like every Madison game that the Winchell have played in recent years has been on a Friday, and Madison's about a 4 hour drive, which like is doable, but it's way more doable on a Saturday. I don't have to take PTO. I can get a hotel or like, just logistically I can make it work. I still have not been to Bree Stevens Field because of the schedule, and I don't think it's going to happen this year. But all that to say, this is actually their first halfway through the season is their first time playing Madison, and that's pretty rare too. I mean, we've seen the Thunderbirds twice before we even see Madison once. That's kind of funny to me. Um, yeah, the Radicals they kind of lost a few players too, right? I mean, they didn't make any huge. Well, they lost Victor Luo, right, to
Yep.
Chicago.
mhm.
They gained Ian McCoskey, which I mean, I don't know if that's an equal comparison, but were there any other major signings that they made or anyone else that they lost? I mean, I feel like they've been kind of quiet the last couple years.
I think other
Not
than
that
losing
I'm.
Tim DeBile out of the head coach position,
I mean, yeah.
I mean, not
Yeah, I would
really
say
many
that's.
other changes happening over in Madison.
Did you guys see Minnesota Windchill's post on April Fool's Day
Oh man, that was a good
Oh
post. Yes,
yeah,
I
that
did.
yeah.
that they signed Tim
Like,
DeVile to a
welcome to the
contract?
team.
Like as a player is the best
Yeah,
part.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
when I
yeah.
feel like as a coach.
What was his
That was
position
great.
too? It was like, I think it was like a hybrid or something. Oh.
Yeah, no,
Um,
that was good.
yeah, I think kind of going off what you were. Oh, sorry, were you done speaking? I didn't mean to interrupt you here.
My only last thought was they're going to beat the Radicals, but as always, it's going to be a close game.
That's fair. I do think that it's interesting having a game this far into the season. So I think this is kind of the point in the season, even if, as early as the game against the Hustle, it does come to a point where it's hard to predict the games. Um, but again, it's looking at the teams as they ended last season, as they're going into the season. Minnesota ended strong and got stronger. Madison didn't. So I
Mhm.
gotta go Minnesota, I feel like.
I'm in the same boat where I think that I was just looking at Madison's roster. It looks like they picked up someone maybe from the Phoenix and from the Hustle, so pulling a bit of a Minnesota wind chill there, but not as high profile of players as Justin Burnett and James Pollard. I think that Radicals returning most of the familiar faces, most of their same roster is going to be a strength for them. They're going to have a lot of chemistry there. And I think at this point in the season, they could be clicking. But unless they're really cleaning up some of their errors from last year, some of their more errant throws, I think the Windchill are going to take this game pretty easily, even at Bree Stevens.
Think for me, the Radicals are a team where it's like I'll see it when I believe, or I'll believe it when I see it. It's like prove it to me that you're a good team, and then I'll have some respect. But I just like they just haven't quite done it yet.
I
Even
mean,
though every game that they play against the Winchell is a close game. They're not even bad games, but they always seem to lose. And and for me, that's a big indicator. Like if they can't win a game against the Winchell, then I'm not gonna predict in their favor.
yeah, and I think a big thing for me is that Central Division final last year, where they were pretty
Yeah.
neck and neck throughout the majority of
Yeah.
the game, and then Minnesota got a little separation, and then they sort of just
That was it.
panicked. Yeah, they sort of
Yep.
started making those mistakes again. If they had kept clean, they would have had a much better chance in that game, possibly even come away with it. So if they're able to fix those mistakes this year, it'll be an interesting game. But unless they can do that, I'm taking the win chill.
Okay, the next week they are hosting the Alley Cats, coming to town. I think honestly, I mean, again, I feel like my board is boring because it's all green, but like I feel like they're gonna beat the Alley Cats at home. They've consistently beaten the Alley Cats at home. I don't have the stats up in front of me, but I believe it's been a pretty strong run against the Alley Cats at Seafoam Stadium, and I don't think that's gonna end here.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much comment to be made. Again, there's it's weird. We only are we hosting the Alley Cats at all in this season, or are we only
But we have one
okay?
game
Yeah,
against them.
we are hosting
Yeah,
this one for
yeah,
some
this game
reason.
is.
Sorry. Um,
Almost all the teams we're playing in the Central Division twice, if not all of them.
Yeah, all of them are playing twice, once at home, once away this year.
Yeah.
okay, so that's a fair split. Okay, yeah, give me the wind chill.
Yeah, similar to before, Alley Cats lost a lot of players. I don't think playing against Minnesota at home is going to make it any easier for them.
Yeah. Hey, and then the double weekend or double header weekend, July 4th and July 5th. This is actually it was funny because I was duplicating this spreadsheet right before this. This is the exact same double header weekend they had last year, just different dates. Um, they played the Union and then they traveled to Detroit to play the Mechanics. Jay, what do you think about the Union game on the 4th of July in
Um,
Chicago?
I have no clue what to think about this game because at this point in the season, the Union will probably be gelling pretty well.
Hmm.
Similarly, Minnesota will also probably be gelling pretty well. Um, so I mean, there's not a ton to say that's different between, this game and their previous game where it's going to be a big powerhouse matchup. So I think just give me the chill. Gotta be taking if it's a 50-50, I have to be taking the chill.
No, that's totally fair. I was looking, this is a Friday, so it's Friday Frisbee. I like the idea of July 4th Frisbee becoming a tradition, even if it doesn't
Heck yeah.
necessarily land on a weekend. You know, if we get some like random
Yeah,
Tuesday, July 4th Frisbee, I think that'd be cool.
that is sweet.
Um, yeah, good point, Jay, about how at this point in the season, the Union probably going to be firing. But that being said, the wind chill probably will be too. They've had a couple hard matchups. They've already faced the Union once. They faced the Hustle. And yeah, I'm gonna take the wind chill, even though it's at Union.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna finally put some red on my board. I think the Union will take this one. I don't remember exactly who they're losing or the timing. I mean, this is bad research on my part, but I know U24 is coming up at this point in the season. We'll be losing some players midsummer. If I'm not mistaken, it might maybe Justin Burnett, I believe Will Brandt, um,
And Paul Krennic.
and PK. So that's at least two people. I think Justin Burnett's on there. I can't remember for sure.
He is on that team.
So that's three big names for sure. It's at Union. Again, that's a hostile territory. And to your points, but in a negative way, the Union will be clicking a lot up to this point. They've got some, revenge in their eyes. They're hosting. Um, Maybe I don't need to dwell on it more than that, but I think the Union will take that win. For me, their first loss of the season. And I guess you still all have one loss at this point, but and then yeah, the day after their Detroit game. I mean, I can keep it on wind chill because I guess again prove it to me that Detroit can win more than one game, and then I'll start voting for them maybe. But
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think
oh, sorry, go ahead, Jay. I was just
I
gonna say,
think that
chill
this
for the
is
win.
the Mechanics' best chance at beating the wind chill in the last however long since the last time they've beaten the wind chill, if not ever. Coming off of it's a double header, and it's not only a double
yeah,
header, but it's back-to-back days. It's not like a Friday, Sunday. It is, one day then the next. They're playing against the toughest in division rival they have all season. Um, and it's like 4th of July weekend. I could see like morale possibly being like, oh man, I wish I was home with the family, cooking up some burgers. I don't know. Um, so if there's a chance the Mechanics win, it would be this weekend. It's still probably, 10 to 20%, but
yeah,
so give me the chill, but there's a chance the Mechanics
20%. That's pretty high. That's very generous for the mechanics. I
10,
feel like.
10 to 20%, 10 to 20%.
I don't know. Okay, all right. Jay's generous. Kane?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the mechanics are gonna make much of a splash this year. I'm not saying they're gonna go completely defeated again, but they're not gonna beat us even this
Mhm.
weekend. Sorry, Jay.
Kane, what
Okay.
about when we host the Radicals?
Okay, so hosting the Radicals, I actually feel like worse about these games
Yeah,
just because when we're there, we have to handle being next to the Madison fans. Like they're
yeah,
physically there with us, and that sucks in a good
I
way, in the best way.
I agree.
If you are any, for some reason, any of the Radicals fans that come to the games, come say hi to us. You guys are awesome.
It's
Uh,
fun. It's
yeah,
fun,
it
but it's
really is. It
terrible.
really, really is. But it's scary because like
Yeah,
they're loud. They got good cheers. They have really good like solid like team cheers.
yep.
Um, that
Yeah,
being
we
said,
need some good team cheers.
yeah, we gotta get better like rhymes and like.
Separate conversation. But I mean, even just like that, I don't. No, I won't say anything good about the Radicals fans.
Oh, okay.
I had something nice to say, but I won't because this is a wind chill podcast. So
Don't spread love and positivity here.
If you
Anyways,
have something nice to say,
Madison's gonna
don't say it.
lose. They're gonna lose this weekend.
yeah,
I do believe that though. Yeah.
yeah, we'll keep you green. Yeah, I agree for the exact same reasons, Kane. It's a very intimidating environment to be in your own home stands and feel like you are away. And we need to step it up. That being said, I think yeah, I don't know. Nothing new to say, I guess. The wind chill will win there. I won't linger.
I never remember what the stat is, and they always bring it up on every broadcast that the Wind Chill play the Radicals, but it's something like 9 straight games at home Minnesota hasn't lost to the Radicals or something like that.
Right.
Or maybe that was at Bree Stevens. I don't know. It's one of those things where Minnesota has a really good record against the Radicals these last few years. I don't think it's going to be changing this year.
And like the thing is, people in the same breath, they always talk about how just a few years before that, like basically we can use COVID kind of as the before and after marker. Before COVID, the Radicals dominated the wind chill. And then after COVID, it was completely flipped, where it's like the Radicals, we don't really know a good Radicals team. Real, like they've been decent, but not good, or not, dominating, but that has not always been the case. It feels like it's always lingering. It feels like they're right there, ready to break out, but they just can't. And that's what I was saying earlier too. Of like, I'll start voting for them once they can prove that they actually can get a dub or two or three against the wind chill, not just a blip here or there. Okay, last two games. Really, yeah, last two games. So we are going to visit the Salt Lake Shred in Salt Lake. We got a revenge matchup against the Shred. We all know what happened 2 years ago at championship weekend with that overtime game. Like that was crazy. And it's kind of a revenge weekend for us in the sense of just playing in the West. We talked about elevation. We talked about that Colorado Summit game, how ugly of a game that was. Like we just did not look like the wind chill at all. It looked like we didn't even know what we were doing with the frisbee in our hands. So this is kind of a game where I think many of the wind chill players have this circled on their calendars of like, this game means a lot for a lot of different reasons.
Absolutely. I think that the Shred the other night when they played was that last night when they played the Hustle, they looked like the one of the best teams in the league. Um, and it looks like a matchup that at this point in the season will have a lot of weight to it. It's
Hmm.
gonna mean a whole lot. It's not just gonna be a fun interdivisional matchup. It could mean the difference between making
Right.
the playoffs for both of these teams. And I think having that weight, having it be at Shred, I am
Hmm.
actually gonna give it to Salt Lake here. I know that might be like a bad fan take, but
I mean, no, I think that's very fair. That's valid. Jay, do you want to go or do you want me to jump
You
in
can
here?
you can go.
I feel the same way. I'm going to give it to the Shred as well for a couple reasons. I mean, I didn't actually watch the Salt Lake game. I watched, I think, like all of 3 points the other night before I had to shut it off. But I know that the Shred didn't have the year that they wanted last year, but I know that they're still the Shred. I know they've picked up some players. I know that they've got that kind of renewed hunger. And again, being at home, it's like we know what they can do. So, um, I just got that pop up that we're running out of time. I hope that didn't pop up. That's probably gonna pop up on our recording. That's funny. Does not matter. But yeah, all that to say, I think the Shred will take it. I hope it's gonna be a close game. I hope it's not gonna be like that Summit game where we travel to Colorado. I hope it'll be more like that championship weekend game that we played against the Shred.
Yeah, I watched the entirety of that Atlanta Salt Lake game. Um, and on the broadcast, they're saying that Salt Lake is a really young team,
Hmm.
which, can have its benefits, but can also have its pitfalls. And I saw some of those pitfalls when watching that game. The players, when they were, getting a bit in later in the game, they're having some tough points, not really go their ways. They were playing a bit worse, trying to make bigger plays when they should have just been playing a little bit more calm, a little bit more chilly. So if Minnesota can force Salt Lake to make mistakes and win out those really grindy points, I think Minnesota has a really good chance. And also, Minnesota is undefeated at Zions Bank Stadium. They're 2-0, so give me the chill.
Heck yeah, maybe. But they are also winless against the Shred, ironically. So just a kind of a fun little stat that
Something's
we'll
gotta
bring up
give.
a couple times. Yeah.
All
And
right.
then yeah, mechanics at home. Ben Feldman sets this game up very intentionally every single season. He's told us this before, so they can kind of have a nice ease into the playoffs. Win chill win at home for fan appreciation weekend.
Yep.
No
Yep.
argument. I'm assuming that's.
All right.
No, give me the mechanics. Yeah, no.
I
No.
love it. Yeah, right. Love it. Okay, so we are looking at Jay as the optimist at. I'm assuming it's still 12 games, right? 11-1. I haven't even. Yeah.
Yep.
And then Kane and I are sitting at 10
So
and 2
you're
each.
putting that in the wrong column, Jeff.
All that's championship weekend teams. Whoops. Well, let me just do this. 10 and 2, and I can copy all of these up here.
Whoa. This man knows Excel.
Dude,
Google
a,
Sheets.
a
Never mind.
spreadsheet hates to see me coming. Okay, so we have about probably 10 minutes left, I'm assuming, of this podcast. So let's just quick go through our four championship weekend teams, one from each division. Jay, kick us off. Who do you think who's making it?
I mean, wind chill, obviously. We're going to be taking the Spiders out of the West.
Okay,
I,
Beavon.
I think that the Phoenix are going to make it from the East. And I think the
That's not
Hustle
how you
are
spell
going to make
Phoenix,
it.
right? Oenix.
And I think the Hustle are making it from the South. Not only that, but I think that Minnesota will have to, that both Justin Burnett and James Pollard will have to beat one of their previous teams.
That's sweet. Those are some fun teams that we would probably never pick in the past. At least the Spiders and Phoenix, maybe potentially Hustle in the past. That's a fun four. Kane?
Um, yeah, we'll lead off with the wind chill. That feels like a given. Uh, Out of the West, I do like Salt Lake. Despite starting with a loss, I think they're gonna put together another season. I think we're gonna see another matchup in the championship weekend between the two of us. Out of the South, I got the Hustle as well. I just like yeah, like them as a team. I thought they were really, really good the other last night when they played. Incredible coaching staff, really deep roster. So I'm excited that they're actually probably my favorite to win it all this year. Um, and then in the East, DC, as always, ignore what
Nice.
happened. It just didn't even first loss to the Phoenix in what 8 years. So
Jeez. All right, I'm holding my mic and typing, so I'm gonna say mine, and then while I type, you guys can kind of wrap up the episode here. But so yeah, I'll start with the wind chill. For the West, I'm also probably gonna go Shred. Just not knowing a lot about the Shred yet, but knowing more about the West Division. We'll see. I mean, multiple people have talked about the Spiders. I'll be curious. In the South, I think I got to go Hustle as well. Um, that it feels like the safe, the obvious choice. Um, maybe it'll change, but I was also going to pick the Breeze in the East, but I will mix it up. I'm going to say Glory is still maybe a safe choice, but it's a different choice. Sorry, Empire. Sorry, everybody else. But okay, I'll type these in. Boys, you wrap us up. Bring us home.
Okay, I just wanted to say this because you mentioned the Empire. Did you guys see the incredible game they had against Vegas? That was wild, 32 to 13. We're not going to talk about that anymore.
Yep.
Um, anyway, yeah, the season looks like it's going to be a really fun one. I mentioned it earlier. I think offense is really going to be the story to follow, especially for the wind chill. I think in seasons past, our defense has been the focus. So I'm looking forward to seeing some good offense this year, especially with additions to our defense. I think that might make it easier for us to flex and be a little bit more deep on the offensive side of the disc. As far as
And
the season like ahead, I'm so excited. Cannot wait.
I can't believe I'm taking this position. I'm the opposite. I think the defense is going to be what can get Minnesota through this year. I
Great.
think that Minnesota's defense is loaded this year, and their ability to disrupt offenses will be something that most other teams don't have. So I'm looking forward to Minnesota's defense winning them some games this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a very fun season, very fun team. No matter what the results, I think the players on the field are going to make this team so much fun to watch. Um, and just as a personal plea from us to all the fans, show up, show up and cheer loud. Not just because the team won championship last year and now we should show up, but because this is a fun team to watch. It's a fun stadium to be in and fun to be in the stands. We want to show up against the Madison Radicals fans and really just kind of give them a little piece of our minds and show them like we can show up, we're loud. And selfishly, I want to kind of step back from the fence a little bit if I can, so I can watch the team a little bit more, maybe analyze the team a little bit more. But that's a separate thing. That's different altogether. But no matter what, we want you guys to be there at CD Foam Stadium. Um, May 15th is our first home game, and we really can't wait to see you there. Join us all season long for mailbag, for player interviews, for podcasts, all that good stuff that we did last year, and more because we heard your feedback and we're implementing it. Um, I've got nothing else, so we'll see you in a couple weeks and stay chilly.
Stay
Stay
chilly.
chilly.